Top 20 Kubernetes interview questions. Question 1. What is Kubernetes primarily used for? A. Orchestrating containers across multiple nodes. B. Creating virtual machines. C. Storing container images. D. Managing data storage in clusters. The correct answer is A. Orchestrating containers across multiple nodes. Kubernetes automates container deployment, scaling, and management across clusters. Question 2. Which Kubernetes component manages cluster state? A. Kube Controller Manager. B. Kube AppServer. C. Kube Scheduler. D. etcd. The correct answer is D. etcd. etcd stores and manages the cluster state in Kubernetes. Question 3. What does a pod in Kubernetes represent? A. A single container. B. A group of containers with shared network storage. C. A virtual machine. D. A node in the cluster. The correct answer is B. A group of containers with shared network storage. A pod is the smallest deployable unit in Kubernetes, often containing multiple containers. Question 4. What is a Kubernetes node? A. A physical machine running Kubernetes. B. A containerized application. C. A virtual machine running a Kubernetes cluster. D. A cluster of pods. The correct answer is C. A virtual machine running a Kubernetes cluster. A node is a virtual or physical machine that runs Kubernetes components. Question 5. What is the purpose of a Kubernetes deployment? A. Manage the storage in Kubernetes. B. Ensure a specified number of replicas of pods. C. Configure networking for pods. D. Create a persistent volume in the cluster. The correct answer is B. Ensure a specified number of replicas of pods. A deployment ensures that a specified number of pods are running at all times. Question 6. Which Kubernetes resource is used to expose services? A. Pod. B. Service. C. Replica set. D. Deployment. The correct answer is B. Service. A service exposes a set of pods as a network service. Question 7. Which command shows the current Kubernetes cluster context? A. kubectl config use context. B. kubectl get context. C. kubectl cluster info. D. kubectl config current context. The correct answer is D. kubectl config current context. This command shows the current context set in your Kubernetes configuration. Question 8. Which Kubernetes component is responsible for scheduling pods? A. Kube Controller Manager. B. Kube AppServer. C. Kube Scheduler. D. Kubelet. The correct answer is C. Kube Scheduler. The Kube Scheduler schedules pods to nodes based on resource availability. Question 9. What is a replica set in Kubernetes? A. A set of pods with identical configuration. B. A resource that monitors node status. C. A persistent data volume. D. A tool to manage pods across clusters. The correct answer is A. A set of pods with identical configuration. A replica set ensures that a specified number of pods are running at all times. Question 10. What is a config map used for in Kubernetes? A. Storing large binary data. B. Storing environment variables and configuration settings. C. Storing persistent volumes. D. Handling networking configurations. The correct answer is B. Storing environment variables and configuration settings. A config map is used to store non-confidential data like configurations and environment variables. Question 11. What is Helm in Kubernetes? A Kubernetes scheduler. B. A tool for managing Kubernetes deployments. C. A storage solution for Kubernetes. D. A network manager for Kubernetes clusters. The correct answer is B. A tool for managing Kubernetes deployments. Helm is a package manager for Kubernetes that simplifies deployment and management of applications. Question 12. Which command deletes a pod in Kubernetes? A. kubectl delete pod. B. kubectl stop pod. C. kubectl remove pod. D. kubectl terminate pod. The correct answer is A. kubectl delete pod. The command kubectl delete pod removes the specified pod from the cluster. Question 13. What is Kubernetes horizontal pod autoscaling? A. Scaling pods based on CPU utilization. B. Scaling node count in a cluster. C. Scaling pods based on memory usage. D. Scaling the number of nodes in a region. The correct answer is A. Scaling pods based on CPU utilization. Horizontal pod autoscaling automatically adjusts the number of pods based on resource usage. Question 14. Which file stores Kubernetes configuration information? A. /etc/kubernetes/config.yaml. B. ~cube config. C. /etc/kubernetes/config.json. D. /var/kubernetes/config.xml. The correct answer is B. ~cube config. Kubernetes configuration is stored in the ~cube config file, which defines cluster and context settings. Question 15. Which Kubernetes resource manages the load balancing of pods? A. Service. B. Pod. C. Replica set. D. Ingress. The correct answer is A. Service. A service is responsible for load balancing network traffic to pods. Question 16. What is the role of the kubelet? A. Manages cluster storage. B. Coordinates cluster networking. C. Ensures pods are running on nodes. D. Manages external traffic to the cluster. The correct answer is C. Ensures pods are running on nodes. The kubelet ensures that containers are running and healthy on the node. Question 17. What is Kubernetes' role in a CI/CD pipeline? A. Storage management. B. Automating deployment and scaling of applications. C. Network management. D. Load balancing traffic. The correct answer is B. Automating deployment and scaling of applications. Kubernetes automates app deployments and scaling in continuous integration in delivery pipelines. Question 18. What is a persistent volume, PV, in Kubernetes? A. A disk that stores data for pods. B. A system for logging data. C. A type of networking configuration. D. A tool to manage pod logs. The correct answer is A. A disk that stores data for pods. Persistent volumes provide persistent storage independent of pod lifecycle in Kubernetes. Question 19. What is a Kubernetes ingress? A. A security feature for pods. B. A tool for scaling nodes. C. A resource for managing external access to services. D. A storage management feature. The correct answer is C. A resource for managing external access to services. Ingress manages HTTP/HTTPS traffic and routes it to appropriate services in Kubernetes. Question 20. Which of the following is not a valid Kubernetes object? A. Service. B. Pod. C. Deployment. D. Cluster manager. The correct answer is D. Cluster manager. Cluster manager is not a valid Kubernetes object, while the others are core resources.